Welcome to all. It's a lot of fun to see everybody popping in for the service this morning. Thanks to all who provided music. Joe and Barry got us off to a great start, and that was a wonderful song pertaining to the beginning of May. Today is the 2nd of May, and we're still celebrating May Day, which occurred yesterday. So my name is Maryke DesChamps. I will be your worship associate this morning, and I'd like to read you some opening words from Timothy D. Daly. Amid all the noise in our lives, we take this moment to sit in silence, to give thanks for another day, to give thanks for all those in our lives who have brought us warmth and love, and to give thanks for the gifts of life. Let us now open ourselves here to the process of becoming more whole, of living more fully, and of giving and forgiving more freely, of understanding more completely the meaning of our lives. We're beginning a new month, and we're beginning a new theme. And our theme for this month, for the month of May, is acceptance. This one simple word, the act of consenting to receive the reality of a situation or a person, can have an overwhelming power in our daily lives. This morning, our fellow church member, Reverend Darren Reale, will present our sermon. He is a member of CUPS, which is the Covenant of UU Pagans, and he will enlighten us further on the concepts of acceptance. His sermon this morning will be titled Beltane, Acceptance and the Divine Union of Earth and Sky. Beltane, as I'm sure he's planning on telling you, is a special high holy day, which is observed around the 1st of May. It honors the Earth Mother and the Sky Father and their cosmic union. It's also a time for creating acceptance, as it draws our energy towards creating a positive existence of acceptance to all those around us. We welcome you, Reverend Darren, and we're happy to welcome all of you this morning to West Valley Unitarian Universalist Church. With our beautiful physical building still off limits, we are here on Zoom, and we're so happy that all of you are joining us. Our congregation is officially recognized by the UUA, a network of more than 800 congregations committed to our 7 principles, which include recognizing the worth and dignity of all people and the need for justice and compassion. We are also a welcoming congregation. This emphasizes that you're welcome here regardless of your sexual orientation. You're also welcome regardless of race, political affiliation, or any personal religious beliefs. Next, we have a time set aside for announcements. I did not receive any by email. Barry, were there any announcements? Okay, we'll just move on. This is the time in our service where we light our chalice. And Paul will now light that for us. My reading this morning is by Bruce Marshall. Our lives are made up of small moments: sharing a meal with friends or family, wondering about a question that puzzles us, giving help to one another, or listening to a person and being listened to. talking with another about something that makes us sad, an embrace, a smile, a touch, offering a thought that might help just a little to make more sense of it all. Our gathering here is just such a small moment. It is a small thing we do in gathering, yet it's very significant. May we affirm and celebrate the moments that we share here today. As a congregation free of dogma, we enter instead into a covenant with each other, promising to one another our mutual trust and support. As our covenant appears on the screen, let us read it together. Love is the doctrine of our congregation. The quest for truth is our holy right, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humankind in friendship. Thus do we covenant. At this time of the service, we take up an offertory to maintain our physical facility, even though we're not able to meet there. The buildings and the grounds still require maintenance. As you know, that takes a certain amount of money. Your gifts will also aid our mission in the greater community. During our special music by Rocky, please take time to write your check, which can be mailed to the church or to Mark Oler King, or there's also a PayPal link available in our chat box. Thank you. We accept your gifts with gratitude and dedicate them to the service of our church. And now it's time for me to present Reverend Darren with his sermon, Beltane, Acceptance, and the Divine Union of Earth and Sky.
Thank you so much. I'd like to begin with a prayer. All-wise, gracious Mother of us all-powerful Lord our Father, supernal parents, sustain us your children this day. Give us the wisdom to seek your path and the strength to prevail in the darkest hour. We thank you for the joys we have, as well as the chances you've given us to prove ourselves in adversity as well as happiness. May we thrive. So let it be. Our theme this month is acceptance, but first, I want to thank everyone here for joining us, accepting our service today into your homes or wherever you may be right now. I especially want to thank the West Valley Unitarian Universalist Church, whom I am beyond grateful to for accepting me as a pagan minister to be here to speak with you today. The May Queen is Flora, the goddess of the flowers and the young blushing bride, and the princess of the Fae of the fairies. She is Lady Marian in the Robin Hood tales and Guinevere in the Arthurian cycle. She is the embodiment of the maiden, of Mother Earth and all of her fertile glory. I'd like to share with you a prayer by pagan author Patty Wingington in her honor. The leaves are budding across the land on the ash and oak and hawthorn trees. Magic rises around us in the forest, and the hedges are filled with laughter and love. Dear Lady, we offer you a gift, a gathering of flowers picked by our hands, woven into the circle of endless life. The bright colors of nature herself blend together to honor you, Queen of Spring, as we give you honor on this day in May. Spring is here, and the land is fertile, ready to give up gifts in your name. We pay you tribute, Our Lady, daughter of the Fae, and ask your blessings this Beltane. So let it be. Beltane is a special high holy day in the pagan calendar, centering on May 1st, honoring the Earth Mother, Sky Father, and fertility from their cosmic union. It is also a time for creating acceptance, drawing our energies to create a positive existence of acceptivity to those around us. Beltane is one of the great festivals in the pagan wheel of the year, and is also known as Witches' Eve, Witches' Sabbath, May Eve, May Day, and Walpurgisnacht. Beltane falls about halfway between the spring equinox, Ostara, and the coming summer solstice, Letha, and is one of the 8 Sabbats. Beltane celebrates spring at its peak and the coming of summer. For many pagans around the world, this festival is often commemorated with bonfires, maypoles, dancing, and performing fertility rites. Beltane is a Celtic word meaning the fires of Bel. Bel is likely referring here to the Celtic sun god, Belinus. The Celts in ancient times lit 2 bonfires set apart from each other because they believed that if they went in between the fire of these bonfires, it would purify themselves as well as increase their fertility. They would then pass cattle between the 2 fires with the belief that it would purify the cattle and ensure the fertility of the herd. Many pagans today still do this bonfire ritual in honor of Beltane, but I've yet to see anyone herd animals between the 2 bonfires. Modern-day pagans celebrate Beltane in a variety of ways, one of the most famous being erecting a maypole and performing a dance around it. For many centuries, cities, towns, villages, and hamlets would put up a tall wood timber for the maypole in the center of the town or a nearby field with colorful ribbons attached to the top. According to one source, the maypole dance was traditionally done by unmarried women and girls. They would take hold of one of the ribbons and dance around the pole in a special way so as to weave the ribbons into a specific pattern. I personally attended a modern-day maypole ceremony where the unmarried men hold the ribbons and do the dance instead, and the unmarried women stand in a wide circle outside around them, each lady holding a yard ribbon of a certain color. As the men do the dance, the women come up to the maypole and tie off the ribbon held by one of the men that they want to be with. May Day celebrations include weaving flowers into ladies' hair, creating floral wreaths that one could wear over their head as a celebration of spring. Some pagans light a bonfire and dance around or even over it, which is another common fertility ritual. Baskets may be created and filled with flowers, food, and notes of goodwill, which are then given to someone in need of care, such as an elderly friend and someone who is recovering from an illness. Other religious celebrations that take place around this time of year include the May 1st feast day in the Christian faith that was dedicated in 870 AD to honoring Saint Walburga, or Walburga is pronounced in German. She was a 9th century Anglo-Saxon Benedictine nun, originally from England, who went as a missionary to Germany and later became the leader or abbess of both a nunnery and a monastery established there by her brother. For centuries, faithful pilgrims come to venerate the tomb of Saint Walburga, where it is believed that from her bones flow a liquid oil that is credited with miraculous healings. Another celebration this time of year is May 2nd, and it's held by the Baha'i faith. It's called the last day of Ridvan. Baha'is will celebrate the last and 12th day of Ridvan at this time, and Ridvan translates to paradise, which is a 12-day Baha'i festival that commemorates the historic events during which Baha'u'llah, the founder of the Baha'i faith, declared himself the messenger of God. Beltane honors life. It represents the peak of spring and the beginning of summer. Earth energies are at their strongest and most active. All of life is bursting with potent fertility, and at this point in the wheel of the year, the potential becomes conception. On May Eve, the sexuality of life and of Earth is at its peak. Abundant fertility on all levels is the central theme. The maiden Earth goddess has reached her fullness. She is the manifestation of growth and renewal. Flora, the goddess of spring, the May Queen, the May Bride, and her consort is the young Oak King, as in Jack and the Green Man, and he falls in love with her and wins her hand. Their union is consummated, and the May Queen becomes pregnant. Together, the May Queen and May King are symbols of the sacred marriage, the union of earth and sky, and this union has been merrily reenacted by humans throughout the centuries. Today, in the modern neo-pagan faith, this union is symbolically reenacted by a chalice and a sacred knife called an athame joining together in what is known as the Great Rite. Beltane is a special time when creativity in our inner souls is drawn forth by this consummation of the Sky Father and Earth Mother joining together. This creativity conceived is blooming and growing just as the Sky Father moves forth higher and higher into the sky as the sun god. This is, as I said, a new time for us and to be more accepting of one another. Just as the Sky Father and Earth Mother accept us as we are and send us renewing energy. Those like myself who were once shunned years ago by society and not accepted into the existing community because they were pagan, heathen, of a different faith that was not mainstream, or of a different color or sexual orientation, are now more accepted by society. And I am proud to say that we strive as Unitarian Universalists to continue this forward progression, this push for diversity, taking down the walls that divide people. Deepak Chopra wrote, "Nothing brings down walls as surely as acceptance." And George Orwell, British author of the novel 1984, wrote, "Happiness can exist only in acceptance." An embrace is a wonderful thing. When we physically embrace each other, it's a great physical act to embrace and accept someone into your arms. It is acceptance on a grand physical level. Yes, I know it's COVID time and the social distancing time, but back in the day, we used to be able to do this embracing, and soon we will be able to do it again. Embracing can also be done in your mind, opening up your mind and being acceptive and receptive to new ideas, new cultures, new ways to look at things, and the list goes on and on as to what one can do. We accept things on different levels and at different stages in our lives. If all is going well, income is high, health is good, friends are many, and problems are few, well, acceptance tends to be a lot more filtered. We are more picky as to what we accept, as well as our thinking that goes behind it. We may even reduce our daily meditations, prayers, and mindfulness because we are, well, doing well. But when things are not going well, money is short, friends are few, and problems are many, our mindset as to what we accept radically changes. We're possibly praying more, doing more energy work, seeking more divine guidance in our lives, and are much more accepting and grateful for anything positive that comes our way. Anything that can help us. Friends that are accepting and helpful are indeed a gift from the goddess and the god. The poet Jim Morrison wrote, "Friends help each other. A friend is someone who gives you total freedom to be yourself, and especially to feel or not feel. Whatever you happen to be feeling at the moment is fine with them. That's what real love amounts to, letting a person be what he really is." Incredible comment on acceptance. Acceptance, it's hard. Acceptance is easy. It's easy to accept a gift from someone you love, but hard to accept someone's opinion you may disagree with. It amazes me personally on the duality of the concept of acceptance. You can accept something or not, depending on your cultural background, life experiences, open-mindedness, and personal biases. It's easy to accept people who are similar to us, but hard to accept people that are different and not like us. Nature in many ways is brutal on this concept. Animals that are different from the established herd or pack are separated by the leaders of that pack, pushed away and left to fend for themselves without the benefit of the pack or herd to protect them. Yet, many are the times when an animal accepts a different species than its own and adopts it, such as instances of cats adopting baby squirrels and nursing them, with one cat, in fact, in Colombia, even teaching its baby squirrel kitten how to purr. A tigress named Saimai in a Thai zoo that was once nurtured by a pig became a mother to several piglets after she lost her own baby cubs that were born premature. There are many, many examples of acceptance in the animal kingdom that we probably have heard of and will continue to hear of that will amaze us. Acceptance is a philosophical concept that's been debated and spoken on for centuries. Zeno of Citium, a Greek who lived in the 3rd century before Common Era, BCE or BC, was a Hellenistic thinker who founded a type of philosophy called Stoicism. He said that happiness was from accepting whatever happened, good or bad. This philosophy was a way of life that emphasized the person's actions more than their words. Yet, we humans are both masters and masters of disasters regarding acceptance. Differing opinions can divide us, sometimes to the point of no return. Recent events this past January bear witness to this. When I was growing up in the 1960s, as a young boy, I was always taught by my parents to be respectful of others and accepting of them, even if they were different and stating different opinions. I was taught in school that America was great because it is a great melting pot of many people from many lands and faiths. And for me to be proud to be an American and support our country. I went on to become an Eagle Scout, a teacher. I even served in the Navy. But as I was growing up and became older, my personal views on acceptance, I found out, were very different than my mother and my stepfather. I always thought when I was little, if you were my step-parent, you would treat me like I was your own child. You would love me. Well, this was not the case. I grew up with a, quote, Cinderella stepmother who treated me very badly, and a cruel, aristocratic stepfather who made it clear that I was the half-breed spawn of my lower-class father and the inheritor of all his defects and shortcomings. I always thought that my step-parents were supposed to be nice and kind and accepting of me, not treating me like I was unwanted baggage they had to deal with from another marriage. I personally believe all the hardships I endured growing up from this actually helped me as a teacher, accepting the elementary music students as they were my own adopted children for the 40 minutes or so that they were with me in class learning music. I was able to talk to young children with sincere respect for who they were and that they mattered. I always reinforced acceptance and respect in my classroom, not only from me to the students, but for the students to be respectful to each other. Students singing and playing music together are a great melting pot of performers, all working for a common good, creating music that can blend together into a rhythmic and melodic work of art, with lots of rehearsal, of course, to get to this level. Let us all be accepting of little children and of each other. May the union of the Earth Mother and Sky Father bless us all. So mote it be. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Darren, for your insight and all your wonderful information. Next, we will read our mission statement together. And Paul will post that for us so that you can see it as well. We agree to provide a safe place to celebrate diversity, draw inspiration for living better lives, foster social and environmental justice, and compassionately support each other in our spiritual searches. I'd like to read some closing words by Gary Kolowski. With faith to face our challenges, with love that casts out fear, with hope to trust tomorrow, we accept this day as the gift that it is, a reason for rejoicing. Also, in closing, I would like to express my gratitude to every single person who made this service possible. It takes an enormous amount of time and effort and coordination to put a service like this together on Zoom. Thank you, Reverend Darren, Rocky, and Paul and Barry for the music. Thanks for all who help with technology, and to all the rest of you who make the effort to attend. Reverend Darren will now provide a benediction for us.
I'd like to share with you for the benediction a quote from the Dalai Lama on acceptance. In today's interconnected and globalized world, it is now commonplace for people of dissimilar worldviews, faiths, and races to live side by side. It is a matter of great urgency, therefore, that we find ways to cooperate with one another in a spirit of mutual acceptance and respect. Thank you.
Thank you. And at this point, we will stop our recording